Okay, quick video walkthrough for the Michaels Skylight issues, ongoing problem with the leaking. As you can see, it's a very shallow roof pitch, nearly flat. It's less than maybe a 212 pitch. In any case, the problem is we've actually resealed areas, the outer areas where the flashing met the roof, and alleviated the problem there. But the problem still remains in heavy rains. Water gets in. A couple things just for observation. This is the top of the skylights. As you can see, there's just standing water. It just sits there. So all this has been properly sealed with the polyurethane, with the rubberized membrane. That's fine, and it's holding up great. But still, when you have standing water for a long time, it's going to eventually find its way in if it can. So you've got that here. You've got it here at 2, but notice not as much. It's actually pitched up to it, so it actually sits like a trough in between there and there. So you don't have as much next to where the skylight is itself. So it's more here, which is right on the asphalt membrane, which is fine. It's not going to have any problems there. This one has steeper. It gets right to the membrane itself, which is now again properly sealed here. So they're not having as leaking here. She said once on a heavy rain there was a little bit, which there might be a point that maybe isn't sealed as well. Where they're still having problems is down here, and this gives you another view, as you can see from the bottom. At this light, which I don't think they said there was any problems at, but this one there is, right here, and they've had some decent leaking from it. She'd mentioned something down toward the end, which might have been just splatter back from the outside or something, because there's no points along that edge that can allow water to penetrate. You've got the overlapping asphalt sheets, but that right there, that's not going to come back up into that, and there's no points that are pulling away anyways. So, but here, they said they've had leaking, and we're in a light rain right now. As you can see, water just accumulates here. So that membrane here, we didn't do any work on this side, so the water here just sits. When you have enough of it forced in, especially when it's driving down here continuously, it's getting into the older membrane here and allowing water to penetrate. So what we may need to do is use the rubberized urethane over here and get this sealed up so that we don't get the water coming in. Again, right now it's a light rain, there's no water coming in. It's when you have driving rain that seems to be the problem. And again, this side, which again, they're not really having a problem here, but I mean, you see the water's just all sitting there, and it's accumulating and just builds up, and eventually, as the seal fails, you'll have problems with water penetration. Again, this is more of a unique situation here, only because it's such a shallow pitch, and the roof's pretty dated. So what we did on this side is it scraped away the offending bad areas and sealed it over with the new rubberized membrane, which worked pretty well, and it's holding up really well along this. They're not having problems there. But just again, flashing between each one, if you look, this one doesn't have it in, but if you look on that one, sometimes you'll see water will pool up in these areas. And again, if it sits there long enough, especially on older seals that are failing, it's going to get in. But that is where we still might have a little bit of an issue. Again, you can see it pretty clearly now over there. The pooling at each point where each skylight is joined together, you've got such a shallow pitch, the water can't get away from there. Like there we go. It's a good angle to see. Right here is just water that sits on it. So it's sitting on top of that membrane. So we might have to do further sealing on this to alleviate the problem. The other option is to do something like through the roof, which is a topical one. We can go across the whole thing, hit the whole thing along every edge, and just kind of go over on top of the asphalt shingles over about a foot overlay. And by doing that, it seals everything out. And they haven't had problems here, but where the roof meets it, there's some of these are looser where the overhang is, so it might be worthwhile to get that as well.